government loses 3.9 million ringgit in love scam. The Malaysian Immigration Department has prepared 970,000 passport books for the renewal of the Malaysian International Passport following the reopening of the country's borders this 1st April. Immigration Director General Dato' Sri Khairul Daud said the total is expected to be able to accommodate the needs of Malaysians who wish to renew their passports to go abroad till June this year, adding that they would restock the books afterwards. He said the projected numbers are based on the statistics of passport renewals in the country before the COVID-19 pandemic hit, which was around 2.3 million to 2.5 million annually.
Dari segi dokumentasinya, saya telah maklumkan bahawa Immigration telah memastikan stok bekalan pasport antarabangsa Malaysia yang ada di dalam simpanan sekarang ini mencukupi. Dan saya maklumkan tadi terdapat 970,000 buku pasport untuk tujuan permohonan baru dan pembaharuan, dan jumlah ini dijangka mencukupi sehingga bulan Jun tahun ini.
He said this when met after appearing on the Bicara narrative program that was broadcast live on RTM last night. Meanwhile, to overcome the problem of congestion at international entry points during the month of Ramadan, which begins in April, and Umrah pilgrims, Dato' Sri Khairul said they would encourage pilgrims to use the autogate system instead of the manual counters. He said it is to enable entry into the country and exit procedures to run smoothly. In addition, Dato' Sri Khairul said the immigration will open special counters for pilgrims who are unable to use the autogate. The Education Ministry, MOE, is currently studying the reasons behind teachers opting for early retirement of late. Its Minister, Dr. Muhammad Razi Majidin, said the main factors leading to teachers retiring early can only be identified once the study is complete. Elaborating further, Dr. Muhammad Razi said the number of teachers who opt for early retirement is almost equal to the rate of those who are on compulsory retirement.
Kita nak perincikan apabila ramai yang bercakap macam-macam pattern dan trend dan sebagainya. Jadi kita sedang susun data-data ini untuk perincikan sedikit lagi. Kita dah jelaskan jumlah dan sebagainya, cuma perincian itu tentang sebab, punca, dan ini akan kita lihat satu persatu, dan guru yang pada umur macam mana, ya, berapa lama dalam karier yang membuat keputusan untuk bersara awal.
The minister said this in a press conference after visiting Sekolah Kebangsaan Syed Idris in Kampung Kuang Hile, Cemor, Perak. On 17 February, Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Sarani Muhammad urged teachers in the state not to opt for early retirement due to their fear of contracting COVID-19. He said he fully understood if teachers apply for early retirement due to illness and medical conditions, but not for teachers who are in good health. The Ministry of Health, MOH, has approved CanSino's single-dose Convidencia COVID-19 vaccine to be used as heterologous booster. MOH, in a statement on its website yesterday, said application for the CanSino type booster dose would be available via MySejahtera soon. It also said that those who took the Sinovac or CanSino biovaccine primer doses could take the vaccine as a booster dose. It's also said the eligibility period for taking this dose after the primer dose is at least 3 months. Meanwhile, Solution Group Berhad, SGB Deputy Group Managing Director Dr. Muhammad Nazli Kamal said the MOH approval would give Malaysians more options when it came to vaccines for booster shots. Its wholly owned subsidiary, Solution Biologics Sdn Berhad, is the ASEAN manufacturing partner for the Convidencia vaccine by CanSino Biologics Inc. Dr. Muhammad Nazli said approval meant that Convidesia could now help in the government's push for high booster coverage in the fight against the Omicron variant of the virus, especially among vulnerable groups. He added that the use of a booster shot from a different vaccine from the previous administered vaccine is also more effective, with a higher immune response as compared to using the same vaccine for booster shots. The Health Ministry today reported 17,828 new COVID-19 infections in the last 24 hours, a slight decrease from 19,105 cases recorded yesterday. This brings the cumulative infections to 4,010,952 from the time COVID-19 arrived in the country in 2020. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, through a statement release, said the number of people who died of the coronavirus similarly showed a slight decrease to 63 compared to the 71 recorded yesterday. Of today's new fatalities on record, 21 died before reaching hospitals. As of today, a total of 34,463 people have died of the coronavirus since the start of the pandemic. The latest number of people who recovered, meanwhile, came to 28,003, raising the cumulative recovered cases to 3,712,668. A senior citizen has lost 3.9 million ringgit that she inherited from her late husband after being duped by a man posing as a South Korean and who promised to take care of her for the rest of her life. Pulau Pinang Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Shahli Mat Zain said the 63-year-old woman became a victim of a love scam after getting to know the man through Instagram last December before continuing to communicate with him on WhatsApp.
Dia kenal tak lama, dalam tempoh 4 bulan. Disember tahun lepas, dia mula berkenalan. Beliau dah 63, tidak lagi bekerja. Wang yang beliau ada adalah wang hasil simpanan mendiang suaminya.
Besides falling for his promises to take care of her, the victim was also influenced by an offer to invest in an oil rig business by the suspect, who also claimed that he worked in a foreign oil rig. The suspect then asked for a sum of money from the woman on the pretext of carrying out business involving the oil rig project that would yield lucrative returns. Dr. Muhammad Shoaili said the man also asked her to transfer the money to him in stages to avoid being flagged by the banks, adding that the syndicate used 19 local banks accounts for the transactions. He said the woman had made 184 transactions involving between 9,000 and 50,000 ringgit from last December until this month, and she only realized that she had been cheated after she found that the pictures sent by the suspect had been edited from someone else's photos. The State Police Chief further advised the public not to easily trust individuals met through social media and not to transfer money to those they have just met. On another note, Dr. Shoaili said the police have managed to bust a drug processing lab and arrested 2 men in 2 raids in near Seberang Jaya on 17th March. He said that over 36 kilograms of various drugs, including heroin, caffeine and shabu worth more than 300,000 ringgit were seized, along with 5 vehicles worth more than 200,000 ringgit, jewelry among others, following the arrest of the 2 suspects aged 30 and 41. Dato' Muhammad Shoaili said both men possessed various prior criminal records relating to drug offences, and they have been remanded till 24th March to facilitate investigations under Section 38B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. In a separate case, the police busted a mini drug processing lab and arrested a drug dealer, 32, in a raid at a flat in Jelutong on 17th March. Based on investigations, the man who turned his rented home into a lab processing methylenedioxy, methamphetamine, MDMA since last month. The police chief added that police also seized 2,025.3 grams of MDMA, shabu 53.7 grams, ketamine 16.5 grams, 45 ecstasy pills and 40 aramine 5 pills totaling more than 100,000 ringgit. He also said the suspect, who was unemployed and tested positive for drugs, has been remanded till 22nd March. An 11-year-old boy has died after he was allegedly kicked, choked and assaulted by a 16-year-old boy in an incident stemming from a dispute over 4 ringgit on Sunday. Kuantan Police Chief ACP 1 Muhammad Zahari Wan Busu said the incident was believed to have occurred at a welfare home for orphans and Asnaf when the suspect and the victim along with 6 other residents were cleaning the surau. Elaborating further, ACP 1 Muhammad said the victim was allegedly carried by 3 residents to the dormitory supervisor's home located around 50 meters from the surau at 4:15 p.m. in an unconscious state. The supervisor had initially thought that the victim had suffered a seizure. The supervisor then immediately rushed the victim to the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital, where the doctor confirmed the victim had died at the emergency ward. Preliminary investigations revealed that witnesses claimed the suspect had confronted the victim, who he suspected had taken 4 ringgit belonging to him, but he grew dissatisfied when the victim ignored him. This resulted in the suspect allegedly choking and slamming the victim against the ground till he lost consciousness. Wan Muhammad Zahari said the suspect has been remanded till 27th March to facilitate investigations under Section 302 of the Penal Code, which carries a death sentence upon conviction. The remand of the suspect in the murder of a 25-year-old woman at Bandar Tun Razak bookshop has been extended to Friday, 25th March. Cheras Police Chief ACP Muhammad Izam Jaafar said the investigation into the case is almost complete and noted that the victim was at the shop on a Saturday as she was waiting for a book supplier. On 12 March, the 25-year-old woman was discovered following a fire at a bookshop located in a school at Bandar Tun Razak. ACP Muhammad Izam said police then arrested a 30-year-old security guard who is likely the main suspect. Speaking at a press conference at the Cheras Police Headquarters, ACP Muhammad Izam said that the investigation is about 90% complete.
Kita dah merekodkan seramai 37 rakaman percakapan daripada saksi-saksi yang terlibat berkenaan kes ni, dan Ikuti yang kita tahan, kita telah extend remand dia sehingga 25 bulan 3 dan kesihatan kita hampir selesai. Saya boleh katakan sekarang ni 95% lah.
Coming up next, government urged to exempt micro-entrepreneurs from minimum wage order. The Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives Ministry is asking the government exempt micro-entrepreneurs from the 1,500 ringgit minimum wage enforcement from next May as their annual income is below 300,000 ringgit each. Its Minister Tan Sri Noh Omar said many of the micro-entrepreneurs were still not financially stable yet as their business operations has just been revived due to the COVID-19 pandemic and floods that hit several areas.
Oleh kerana golongan yang ramai terlibat dalam PKP, pada PKP yang lepas hampir 43,000 usahawan terlibat, usahawan mikro yang terlibat. Kemudian banjir pula melanda yang boleh dikatakan melibatkan hampir dekat 70% usahawan mikro ini. Jadi mereka ni usahawan mikro baru nak bernafas.
He said this to the media after the handing out of the Keluarga Malaysia Entrepreneurs Flood Aid to Sahabat Usahawan Amanah Ikhtiar Insya Alam yesterday. Tan Sri Noh said most of the micro-entrepreneurs were involved in petty trading and their helpers were usually their own family members, neighbours or village friends. He said these entrepreneurs pay their helpers what they can afford, but if they are to pay the minimum wage, they might not be able to afford it as their income is just enough for them to survive. Giat Mara is offering an opportunity for students aged 12 to 16 years to attend technical and vocational education and training TVET courses at its training institutes across the country. Rural Development Minister Datuk Sri Mazir Khalid said through the Junior TVET program, which was launched on 13 March this year, the participants would be given early exposure so as to get them interested in TVET.
Bidang kursus yang ditawarkan kepada TVET Junior ni adalah yang berkaitan dengan seperti pertama simple pengetahuan mengenai dengan elektrik, repair ni lah, pendawaian kecil-kecil yang very simple kat rumah tu. Yang keduanya waiki basikal. Dia waiki basikal, very simple basikal. Dan dia ada juga masakan kan, yang buat kek. Kemudian dia ada simple jahitan beg.
He added that this program would be conducted in stages at all 231 Getmara premises across the country, with a target of 5,000 participants by the end of this year. Datuk Sri Mazir said the participants would attend a short-term course of 2 to 5 days towards the weekend or during the school holidays so as not to disturb their school session. However, he explained that the types of courses offered would depend on preparedness in terms of the material and facilities available, besides the allocation for any of the Getmara centres involved. The proposal to lower the speed limit of vehicles from 50 km per hour to 30 km in several areas in the city centre will be presented to the Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL next month. Deputy Federal Territories Minister Datuk Sri Jalaluddin Alia said that the Malaysian Institute of Road Safety Research, MIROS, was still working on the details of the proposal. Commenting further on the matter, Datuk Sri Jalaluddin said the data collection and analysis will be carried out, and if it is agreed, then it will be implemented in September this year. He said the areas involved in this MIROS study are areas with speed limits of 60 and 40 km per hour. Meanwhile, roads that have been gazetted with 70 and 80 km per hour speed limits are not included in the study. The Deputy Federal Territories Minister added that DBKL was also of the view that lowering the speed limit was a good move, as it would improve safety for other road users such as cyclists and pedestrians. That's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, Immigration Department readies 970,000 passport booked for renewals. News at 10 comes in this evening on my previous Berita RTM news channel. I'm Azlani Adani. Goodbye for now.